Hello, this is the RigMetal Plus aluminum profile sim racing chassis from RigMetal in Seattle, Washington. Along with offering my opinion on this product, I would also like to discuss why I feel you need a aluminum profile chassis for sim racing. Maybe why you wouldn't want one. What are some of the other alternatives in this price bracket that you could consider? What sets this one apart, and maybe where it's deficient in some areas. For starters, I'm new to sim racing. I just started in August with a Facebook Marketplace special clamped to my desk, and quickly learned that, or realized I wanted more. And then once you start going down the rabbit hole of Reddit and YouTube, you figure out that there's a ton of options out there for higher end gear, and then that segues right into, well, you need something very, very sturdy to mount it to. And until you have a direct drive wheel and load cell pedals, you really fully don't understand what any of that means. And like, you're kind of skeptical, like, do I really need to spend $500 to $1,000 on a frame just to push these pedals and turn this wheel? But the answer is yes. Too long didn't read. Yes, you need something very sturdy, and until you have it underfoot and in your hands, you won't really fully appreciate that. But I can tell you, yes, you do. This particular setup comes out the door $529. They charge $30 shipping flat rate fee, and no tax for my state in the US. Most of these chassis are going to look very similar because they all use the same base material, which is this aluminum extrusion or aluminum profile. Another brand name for it is 8020. Which is just a brand name. It doesn't have anything to do with the measurements, which I learned through my significant amount of research and lost sleep Googling and obsessing over this since August. So I kind of am doing this because this video because I feel like I've gained a vast amount of knowledge in a very short amount of time, and I want to hopefully help someone else make a decision easier than I did, if they're going down the same rabbit hole and path that I just went on. So, like, again, most of these are going to be very similar. This is metric aluminum profile. Most of these pieces are 40 millimeters wide and then 80 millimeters this way. The two channels are usually going to be 80 millimeters, and three channels be 120, and four would be 160. But they're all pretty much always going to be 40 thick, width or thick, whatever. When you're researching the various different options, you're going to see design choices are going to differentiate them between one model or the other, mostly from different companies. The more rudimentary, constructions and designs are going to use these corner gussets. You'll see heavy use of corner gussets and kind of like, the less elegant options. Ones that are more elegant, this upright for the wheel deck is going to be mounted on the outside with some proprietary mounting plate, or they might be tapped through this side and bolted in. Mostly, I think that's going to be for aesthetic reasons. This is rock solid. I should probably lock my wheels. This setup, it's probably a little uglier. I haven't put a lot of the caps on yet, because another thing you're going to realize when you get one of these is you're going to be tinkering with it a lot. And that kind of brings me to my point of why maybe you wouldn't want one of these. If you're not somebody who likes to tinker, if you're not somebody who obsesses about having a project every weekend, being in your garage, messing around with stuff, putting stuff together, taking stuff apart, fixing cars, whatever, you probably won't like any of these products. Like aluminum profile chassis, you should just skip it, because my basement's trash because of this whole thing, and I've probably spent way more time farting around with this than I have actually racing. My Alienware chair is dismantled because it was mounted to this prior to me getting this. I might not even decide to go with this, so this might be off soon, and I might have another chair I'm clamping on. And when you put a new chair on, or if you change an angle in one part of your rig, you're going to be changing everything else. You're going to have to change this, height, angle of deflection coming away from the wheel plate. You're going to have to change the height of your pedals. You're going to have to change the how far your pedals are away from you. So you're going to be spending a lot of time messing around. And if you're like me, you got a family, you got wife and kids, you're going to be sneaking down here, turning bolts, for 5-10 minutes, and then having to rush back upstairs to make yourself known, when you hear your name being called. So yeah, for somebody who has time and likes to fix things and be resourceful, finding extra parts if they're missing parts, or finding solutions to problems ergonomically, then yeah, definitely go this route. As far as the RigMetal Plus is concerned, it's definitely built like a tank. And looking at other offerings, it definitely looked like it was the most substantial wheel deck assembly for the $500 price range. The pedal deck is another area of the rig that's going to be unique to different models, in similar price brackets. Usually the ones in the $500 price bracket use a pedal plate, so it's like a piece of metal with holes in it for mounting the pedals. Those, in my experience, just from looking online and watching every single review on every single product that was ever made, and never sleeping for the past couple months until I finally decided, and still probably not sleeping that well because I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do to this. But yeah, the pedal plates flex more. The more expensive options always seem to come with pieces of aluminum extrusion for mounting your pedals, because the more expensive pedals can mount top down. So it's easy to mount stuff that mounts top down, because all you have to do is slide some T-nuts in there. If you don't know what a T-nut is, this is a T-nut. Okay, these just offer a mounting hole for an M8 bolt. Most of these are M8, so these can be slid in from the outside, and then you can slide it along the channel anywhere you want it, and wherever it lands is where you can drive your bolt into it. They also can be rolled in. Let's see if I can get this over here. So this is the interior core of the profile. This is something else that you see a lot in a lot of videos, where they hold up different pieces from different companies, and most of them look like this. The thickest comes from SimLabs, which is in the UK, and shipping a SimLab cockpit to the US is like $300. SimLab is carried by Micro Center, and if you're lucky to be someone who lives near a Micro Center, that's what you probably should do. Just go to Micro Center and buy a SimLab cockpit. But unfortunately for me, the closest one is over 3 hours away, so it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, these would be slid in from the outside, if you can. But if you have mounting other stuff mounted in the way and you can't do that, these can be rolled in. These have this leaf. They call these leaf springs. Some have a ball bearing that pops in and out. These are pretty easy to pop in. Just roll them in, and then you just bounce it a little bit, and then it's in. And anything that mounts from the top down, seats, pedals, usually are going to be your two main pieces of hardware like that, or a shifter or something, is going to be super easy to mount with these. This chair in particular that I have on there, bucket seats are really easy to mount, because you can take the chair off the brackets, and you can mount straight down through the holes in the bracket, then remount the chair because it's side mounted. My Alienware chair over there, I had to get a little bit more creative. The RigMetal comes with these, which are used for mounting pedals that can't be mounted from the top down. I didn't need these after I replaced my Thrustmaster T150, so I was able to use these. I mounted these to the bottom of the Alienware chair, and then added T-nuts to the side of the profile, so that this part of the bracket contacted the side of the profile, and then once it was mounted, it was actually super comfortable. And if I didn't want to keep it as my desk chair, I probably would have kept it as the sim racing chair. But that also would mean I'd be done tinkering and I wouldn't have anything else to do. So why be done there? The other negative of mounting a chair like that is you don't get any angle adjustment. So side mount bucket seat, depending on the brackets that are being used in this NRG, there's 3 holes each. You can go down this way and up this way, or one notch here and there, and you can kind of zero in on where you want to be. Okay, that was a tangent. Let's get back to the RigMetal. The negative of buying from RigMetal is going to be the customer service and the setup process. There are instructions online. They're okay to follow. I had to heavily rely on pictures. I had to rely on talking to people in the Facebook group here and there. The Facebook group is gated by the admin, who's the owner of the company, and he doesn't respond very quickly to even the requests to the Facebook group, and even slower to questions. One issue that I had with this is there's about 12 instances where you need a 20 millimeter round bolt, M8 bolt, and the ones in my package were 17 and a half. If I didn't have this Team special, I would have been in trouble because I had to, none of the bags for the hardware are labeled at all. So before I was able to really get going, I had to dump everything out, and I had to organize everything and measure everything and label everything, including the profile, including all the nuts and bolts. Will from Boosted Media always recommends these, and I already had one of these. I guess they call this a slide square. You lock it in on one end, and then you compare to the other end, and then you basically don't have to measure. You can just make it so that both sides are even before you start bolting stuff down. This is an invaluable tool as well. So customer service is definitely a weak point. And he even said, to be fair to the owner of the RigMetal, he says on his website, once you buy this, you're pretty much on your own. And I think, as opposed to buying from a company like Advanced Sim Racing or Next Level Racing or Sim Labs, this is more of like buying a kit that someone's carted out for you and done all the legwork and measured everything and then figured out every single little piece of hardware. So you're buying a kit, and you have to be able to manage on your own once you receive that kit. One of the negatives of aluminum profile, that in my opinion, is that you can't go to Lowe's or Home Depot and pick any of this stuff up. They don't have any of this stuff. T-nuts, corner brackets, corner gussets, extra pieces of profile. There are websites, 8020.net and tnuts.com. 8020 is pretty expensive. I mean, a couple pieces of this stuff is going to be $60, and then now you're talking, sixth of the price of this thing or whatever. 8020 uses metric. T-nuts uses imperial. So imperial profile is going to be in inches, and it's 1.5 inches is 38 millimeters and change. So they're going to be close, but the channels on a double slot like this they're not going to line up. One channel will line up, and then the other one will be askew. So when you buy one of these, you definitely want to make sure it's coming with everything that you could possibly want in the package, so that you don't have to fart around afterwards sourcing this stuff out, because it's either going to cost you too much money where you're going to regret your decision in the first place, or you're going to be dissatisfied with what you do have. For somebody who doesn't want to go through any of this, I was looking at the Playseat Trophy, and that's probably good enough for most people. Depending on what level of direct drive you're going to buy. This is an Alpha Mini. This would be totally fine on a Playseat Trophy. Even people who buy the Alpha Ultimate, it's 25 or 23 newton meters. They're not going to run it that hot anyways. They're going to run it at 15 or 12 or whatever. That would probably be fine on there too. And that brings me to my next point. Sometimes the benefit of these and the thing that you see espoused all over the internet of why these are so amazing and why you definitely have to have this is because of how modifiable they are and how adjustable they are. I don't know why that's in quotes. It's not really a quote. It's just a fact. They are infinitely adjustable, and that to me sometimes can be a negative, because you don't really ever know if you have it just right. And if you're crazy like me and you're always wondering, do I have it just right? Is it like this person said I'm supposed to do? Or if you watch videos and they say your wheel should be at 14 degrees. I had my wheel at 14 degrees, and well, this sucks. This doesn't feel good at all. So then I'm back to the drawing board. When I changed to this seat, my pedals were too high. I had to take the pedals completely off and invert the entire mounting apparatus so that I could get them lower. I bought these casters so that I could get it higher, so that I could mount the pedals lower. So if you really want to buy something You know, that's the thing. On Reddit, they say buy once, cry once, meaning buy one of these so that you're not upgrading to one of these later. Well, I think maybe you could buy one of these and then be crying about it because you just want to race and you don't want to fart around with this and tinkering, you know, my two favorite words. You might not want to be tinkering with this and messing around with it, you know, often. And you might want to have that capability, that opportunity just completely out of the question, out of the situation. And, you know, if you want to do that, buying something like the Playseat Trophy is probably more advisable because, you know, you take it out of the box, you click everything together like it's supposed to be. You might make some length adjustments here and there just for your height. You clamp everything on and then you're racing and you're done. There's really nothing else that you can do to it to make it any different. You just have to kind of live with it how it is. And from what I understand reading about it, it's pretty comfortable and most people are pretty happy with it. But, you know, getting back to the beginning, if you are somebody who likes having a project and you like having that part of the experience, then by all means, I like it. Now, you know, let me just circle back. I enjoy it. I am a little obsessive though. So, you know, having all of these infinite, you know, adjustable points is a little bit of a detriment for me, but I pretty much have it dialed in now after owning it for, you know, roughly a month. So I have been doing a lot of racing and I freaking love it. Like it's awesome. And, you know, if you're looking at this video, you're probably also researching your next set of hardware, your big boy hardware, your upgrade from your entry level stuff. And I can also tell you that is definitely worth it too. As long as you're not, you know, missing out on your rent payments and, you know, not putting food on your table. As long as, you know, the rest of your responsibilities are satisfied, then you owe this to yourself. You deserve it. Buy all this stuff, you know, and don't think back, even if you're not using it every minute of every day. That's my dad advice. So I'm going to take the camera off the tripod. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer. I don't have a gimbal or anything, so it might be a little shaky here and there, but I'll do my best to hold it steady. And let's look at the pedal assembly and the wheel deck assembly. So here is the wheel deck assembly. And as you can see, I was saying before, it's got a continuous piece of 120 millimeter by 40 millimeter piece of aluminum extrusion. It has these custom brackets for angle adjustment with 3 insertion points into T-nuts. It has these custom brackets here to mount these 40 by 40 pieces of aluminum extrusion to the 120 millimeter plate. And then it has this really thick wheel deck. And we can do it's about 10 millimeters thick. I mean, that thing is ridiculous. It is not going anywhere. And I mean, that piece is not cheap. I bet you if you try to buy that piece by yourself, it'd be $100. So you're definitely getting a lot for your money with the RigMetal Plus. No doubt. No doubt. And I definitely recommend it for somebody who does not have any problems figuring out how to put stuff together. As long as you can be resourceful, you know, getting back to those 17.5 millimeter bolts that I didn't have, you know, I was able to buy the 20 millimeters that I needed on Amazon. I think I got 20 of them for like $8. So luckily Amazon had those. I didn't have to, you know, spend $20 shipping to get 10 bolts from T-nuts or whatever, 8020.net. Now here's the pedal deck assembly. This looks different, so here's something that I did on my own. Like, this is not the way it's pictured in the instructions or on the website. But that's, again, the beauty of a product like this is you can kind of make it your own and do whatever you want to do. Now, I added these casters. If you buy casters from one of these companies, they're going to charge you $80 or $70 roughly. Sometimes they're just feet and they don't roll, which I definitely highly recommend against that. You want to be able to move this thing. It's way too heavy to drag, and you'll bend the shit out of anything if you try to drag it across a rough surface, or you'll scratch the hell out of your floor if it's not. This is recycled tire flooring, so it's resilient, but they would break off. So again, these custom brackets, those are expensive, and they're thick and they are sturdy. And we're mounted to 2 pieces of 40 by 80 aluminum extrusion. We're mounted directly into the extrusion through these holes into the profile. If you have pedals that mount from the bottom up, you would slide a T-nut into here. And if this isn't together, you could slide the T-nuts in from the side. or like I showed you before, you could roll them in, and then this would just mount, like so to a T-nut, and then you have a piece that's vertically oriented now for mounting up through. You'd have to get under there and mount the bolt, through this side up into your pedals, and then you can do the same thing with a seat that mounts from the bottom as well. And I got the camera here back on the tripod. I keep forgetting that if I try to push these down and I'm holding the camera too, it's going to look like it's flexing. And we want to be fair. Yeah, there's no flex. I only have these sets about 40 kilograms, but there's zero flex, and it's impressive, no doubt. These are the SimMagic P1000 pedals with the haptic pedal reactors attached. I do have the clutch. I actually just took it off because I don't have a shifter yet. I want to get good with paddle shifting and just staying on the track for now. We'll worry about a shifter later, and in that time I can put the clutch back on. Let's do a little driving. You can see how the wheel deck holds up. You can see close at hand. You're gonna hear my haptic pedal reactors going off. I'm probably gonna run off the road because I'm talking too much, so don't make fun of me in the comments, please. I don't have my gloves on either. You gotta have gloves. You might think it's dorky, but it definitely feels better with gloves on if you don't already have them. So this is the Alpha Mini and the GT Neo wheel running at the full 10 Newton meters. And not a whole lot's going on yet. My monitor is actually really far away too. So I don't know. I mean, this is you can't even tell how hard it's pulling on me because of the fact that there's zero flex on camera. Like I'm looking at my other monitor and it's impressive. This thing is definitely built like a tank. I don't have any reason not to recommend it when it comes to construction. Yeah, it's not as slick looking as some of the other models. I usually run this about 155 to 156. So don't make fun of me. This is going to be slow. That's the time my lap times on this for those uninitiated. But yeah, it's definitely built like a tank, and it's like comparing wooden sheds. They're all made out of wood. It's just how did they put them together is the question. Did they use nails, screws, whatever, deck bolts? I don't know. But this stuff is pretty much all the same. They all use T-nuts. They all use M8 bolts mostly. Some have thicker base profile. Like I said, some mount the wheel deck uprights to the outside instead of the inside. Some use angled wheel deck upright posts for more leg clearance getting in and out. Some have taller and angled wheel deck upright posts to accommodate for the potential addition of motion platform, which brings your seat really, really high, which means your wheel direct drive wheelbase and wheel have to be higher. And if the profile's not high off the bat, then you're going to be in trouble and you're going to have to buy taller pieces. So those are things to consider as well. But yeah, in the United States, RigMetal is definitely one of the top options, if not the top option that I was looking into. The other really good option, which based off of their brand new product they just launched, version 2 of one of their chassis, Advanced Sim Racing in Canada, doesn't charge tax, doesn't charge shipping, doesn't charge tariff or import taxes coming into the United States. So that's probably a better option for most people because their customer service is second to none from everything that I've read, and a couple questions that I've asked them have been answered very promptly and completely, whereas I'm sorry, I think the guy's name is Marcus from RigMetal. I'm sorry, Marcus, but I know you said you don't respond to people in a timely fashion for whatever reason, Well, you're not lying, because you definitely don't. And I think, for most people, it's probably going to be a problem, because you want to be able to feel like you're supported, after purchasing something this expensive. And the lapel did. So let's go to my desktop and we'll look at some alternatives. Okay, so starting with Next Level Racing, this is the Next Level Racing GT Elite Light Wheel Plate Edition. It's $499, and it's the closest in price to the RigMetal, which is $499 plus the $30 shipping, rather, coming to $529, no tax. So I know, buying direct from Next Level Racing, they don't usually charge shipping, but they do collect state sales tax. So if you live, like I live in New York State, it's almost 9%. That's an extra $80 you got to add on to the cost. Some unique features that are kind of specific to Next Level Racing, but also starting to be used by SimLabs, I noticed recently, is these angled uprights. The angled uprights are cool, and I'm sure they're helpful in some areas, but I think from all of my research and from now owning one, I think they're largely going to be a negative for most people. For starters, they use really tall profile, and almost every video review you see of these, they block your screen because they're just way too high. The reason why they use these, I've learned, is because they sell a lot of motion platforms, and the motion platforms sit here. So you're pretty high, and then your chair's got to sit on top of that. So if these aren't tall, then you're not going to be able to get this wheel plate up high enough to get your wheel in line with you. So they sell these natively, even if you don't plan on ever adding motion. So you're kind of stuck with them. The other negative, and we'll go to another model in a second, but this $499 doesn't come with a shifter plate, and I didn't show mine, but we'll look at a picture, because I haven't mounted mine yet, because I don't have a shifter, and I'm not set on my chair yet, so I want to find the right chair that I'm going to definitely stick with, and then I'll mount the shifter arm when I know it's not going to be in the way. But this doesn't come with a shifter arm, so you got to add a shifter arm. It's usually an extra $100, most of these companies, so you just might as well get the next level up model up. This wheel deck, definitely with just these thin brackets and these thin pieces of profile, and I don't know what these even are. These don't look like profile. I don't know if those are custom plates or mounting plates, but I've seen these flex more than what I've seen mine flex. So you're going to be dealing with some additional flex in the pedals, and then you'll see in a minute why I feel like these are a negative, other than also blocking your screen. One thing they do add, these little levers, tapped levers, and they're used instead of the M8 bolts. These are nice because then you can make quick forward and back adjustments of the chair. These things go for like $8 to $10 on Amazon each. So if there's 4 of those, that's $40 of nice hardware, and they're also including these casters, it looks like. But we'll go to the Next Level Racing model. Up from this is going to be the GT Elite. So here's your shifter arm right here, $150. Okay, this one here, GT Elite Wheel Plate Edition, non-light version, comes with a shifter arm. Okay, but there's a caveat to that: it doesn't have a support arm. So I mean, I've definitely seen videos where people are shifting hard on these and they shake. And then some, I think the people who have relationships with Next Level Racing always try to spin that as a potential positive, saying, well, it adds extra immersion. You can feel it reverberate throughout the chassis when you shake the whole damn thing. I personally don't think that's a very good thing, but whatever. I want every bit of value for every single cent that I'm paying. And if that means I have to buy from a different company that includes the support arm for the same price or less, which is what I did, then that's what I'm going to do. Another negative is they mount these right to the upright. So that means if you need to move this upright to change the positioning of your wheel, the pedals are going to move. And that means then you got to move these, or you have to move this. So one, unfortunately, doesn't move independently of the other, which is unlike what I'm dealing with here. You know, I just went through this last night when I swapped out to this NRG chair maybe 2 nights ago. I had to move my pedals, and I got the pedals right where I wanted them. I got the chair right where I wanted them. When I was done, the wheel wasn't close enough for whatever reason. I can't remember maybe the chairs is angled back a little further, whatever. But I was easily able to just loosen the 8 bolts that keep this wheel deck in place and slide it towards me and anchor them back down, and I was done. So that's why I really wanted to go with Next Level Racing, because they look amazing, and their customer service is second to none, and their packaging process is second to none. Everything's labeled beautifully. The instructions are wonderful. They have instructional videos. I wanted to be in this family, but I couldn't get past all these kind of perceived negatives. All right, here we are at the other main contender. I had the ASR 3 from Advanced Sim Racing in Canada. This is the Generation 2. This wasn't available when I made my purchase. This was just released last week, I believe, and it's actually a little bit less than it was. So you're $500 out the door for this, no tax, no shipping, and they even have a 5% boosted media code to use, so it's going to bring your price down even further. One perceived negative for this company is the fact that they use this split profile design mounting system. Now, I don't think this is as much of a negative if you're utilizing this front mount construction. They don't have a picture of the wheel plate on this product anymore, but let's go to the ASR 1. So this is the way the ASR 3 used to come, and I believe it was a charge, upcharge to add the front mount. Now, all the reviews of the ASR models, like the 6 from I think the Busa Media did the 4 or the 6. He was using the front mount, but he alluded to this briefly for like 5 seconds, and he said this one flexes more. So once I heard that, I couldn't take it. You know what I mean? I don't want any flex. If I'm going to spend all this money, I want little to no flex. Okay, but going briefly back to the ASR 3, this is newly designed, and one of the changes is they use this flat face profile, and it is sexy as hell. Look at that. It's so pretty. And there's no mounting hardware on the outside either. One of these pictures, you can see it's tapped in from the other side. Now that is elegant, and that is extra work. It's extra machining work, and it comes with this wheel plate in case your pedals don't have, or pedal heel plate rather, and it uses profile for the pedal mounting, and it's got similar brackets to the RigMetal. Just not being able to hold these in my hand and feel the weight, they don't look as sturdy as the RigMetal. The RigMetals are super heavy and super rigid, and they allow for infinite mounting adjustment potential. But I would guess that these are just as sturdy and they look just as good. Again, these don't look quite as substantial as the one that comes with the RigMetal, but unless you're, and I don't think they mean for you to use this with something 20 newton meters and over. If you're going to run something like an Alpha Mini like me, this is going to be fine. And I will say, if I were buying right now, I would buy this because it looks better. It's got the shifter arm. It's going to be cheaper, actually, for me. $549. I could have just done $550, but we need to be exact. 0.95. This thing is going to be $522.49 shipped to your door, okay? And it also is going to come with the stellar customer service that is purported on the internet that comes from Advanced Sim Racing. So if I'm in the United States, probably going to buy this. Yeah, and then I probably would buy this. I don't see any other deficiencies or anything that would steer me away from it. It looks great, and it comes with a front mount, which is really the right way to do it. Let's look at one other alternative here, and this is one that I didn't know anything about until after I was completely sold on SimMagic, and I came to this website to buy my SimMagic stuff, and I came across these, and I was like, whoa, look at this one. I mean, this looks amazing. 160 millimeter base profile, 647. Now, again, it's more expensive. It's, you know, about $100 and change more, $120 more. But look what you're getting. Oh my God. Look what you're getting. You know, and even this one, I didn't really look at this one. I don't like this at all. I don't like that at all. This looks really kind of slapped on there. I don't like the way this looks. I could be completely off my rocker. Like this thing, you know, could be super sturdy, but you know, and then these plates too. These are usually pretty thin and they flex. I don't like it. I wouldn't get this. It looks great though. I mean, it looks great. This looks great. This apparatus over here, lots of corner gussets, custom plate here, mounted to the outside. I like this, but I don't think you're going to get some flex with that for sure. And you're going to get flex with this. But back to this guy. Whoa. I mean, this is amazing. And I can tell you, if you spend this much money from them, there's no tax and there's no shipping. And they're offering it at this discounted price because it's not yet available. So that was another, I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't have gone this route because I wouldn't be racing right now if I did, because it's not available. But man, this thing looks amazing. And you can change to a SimMagic front mount. Let's see where it's taking us here. There we go, front mount. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit more. It took the price up, but yeah, I mean, this thing looks freaking awesome. And I am definitely jealous. And I don't have buyer's remorse, but I probably would have bought this. I would have made my family eat Kraft macaroni and cheese one night instead of taking them out to dinner, because that's how much it costs to go out to dinner with 5 people. $200 easy all day long. So yeah, I would have made them, you know, eat freaking leftovers for one stinking night, and I would have bought this, 100%. I don't see anything wrong with this. This one, I don't like the other one. This one for sure, the 160. And I mean, this is a crazy price. You can't get near this. I mean, go back to Next Level Racing. You want to talk about 160 millimeter profile? Oh, okay, it's $1,000. It's actually got a price decrease. It used to be this one. Okay, so if you want front mount, you're going to spend $1,100 plus shipping. Okay, so yeah, give SimMotion a shot. They had the best price for the SimMagic Alpha Mini bundle that I bought. Yeah, I have no affiliation with any of these companies. I'm just geeking out over this stuff. Okay, here's the RigMetal Plus website. Everything's really up front. The photos are dated. I don't understand this. Like, this is his like first iteration. It can't be that hard to upload some new photos. Come on, get the black version on here. It only comes in black from what I understand. There's pictures of the black version in the instructions, which are located. Actually, we got to click on the actual cockpit. So here's your $4.99 and close-up pictures of all the pieces. It's definitely well thought out and very sturdy bundle that you're buying. But that's what you're buying. You're buying a kit. Okay, here's the instructions. It shows the black version, slight change in the design where, you know, these are bigger. These are 40-80 pieces. I think they were 40-40 before, and they're mounted horizontally, but you can still mount them parallel to the base pieces as well if you need to. But yeah, here's the instructions. Yeah, those pieces, you know, it comes with the inventory for the pieces for each section, but it doesn't come with a master inventory list. So if you want a master inventory list, you need to pick through each line and add everything up yourself, which I didn't do because I just wasn't going to do it. I wish it did have a master inventory list, so after you have everything dumped out, you know that you have everything that you need. I think the instructions are written about as well as they can be written, but they're still confusing at times, and at times they don't state exactly what bolt to use. It just says, you know, bolt this in here, bolt this in there. These pictures are helpful. This picture is helpful. I can tell you, I bought some of these corner 4040 corner gussets off of Amazon, and they are nowhere near as high quality as these ones. The anti-rotation tabs are not removable from the cheap ones. I had to grind them off. I have a little project that I might show you that I'm going to be working on as soon as I produce this video. I wanted to make sure to do this with the RigMetal in its native state before I alter it in any way. But yeah, you're supposed to measure all the pieces and then label them. I didn't get any labels, so I had to make my own. Yeah, so these are the instructions, and you know, I was able to do it. I'm pretty handy. I'm not handy like with construction, but I'm pretty handy putting stuff together. So I want to just point out one other thing from the website. The FAQ, which is here. In the very last section, it says, so he doesn't change the instructions because he wants to be able to change the design. And he says, you know, he might offer more instructions. I mean, he probably wrote this years ago because you can see the pictures are old. You are largely on your own. So he's up front. You know what you're buying. You know what you're getting into. Don't cry if you can't figure something out. Join the Facebook group and wait about a week or 2 weeks to be accepted by the admin, which is the owner, and then we'll help you out, you know, in the Facebook group. Or you can comment on this video if you need help. If you bought one of these and you're having issues, I'll help you. I did also buy this front mount from Track Racer. It was $20 and $30 shipped, so it's $50. And you can't get anything close to this quality for $50. I don't know why they were selling them so cheap, but you know, because I keep reading about stuff and watching videos, all the videos say you should front mount your direct drive. So you know, that was my next obsession. I'm doing it wrong. I should front mount my direct drive wheel. Why am I doing it the wrong way? So that's going to require me to move the uprights to the outside of the base, like you saw in some of the other alternatives. So I needed some extra gussets. That's where I got the cheap ones from Amazon. But I might do a video about this. But that's the benefit of this stuff. Once I take this whole wheel deck apparatus off, I'm going to have this nice hunk of extrusion to probably mount to the side of this, and I'll have you know, I won't have to use this table anymore for starters for my mouse and keyboard, and then I'll have infinite mounting points for other stuff. The plates can be used to mount shifters. The wheel deck can be used as a, you know, whatever, shifter mount or you know, keyboard stand or whatever. Oh, that was one other point I wanted to make. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to go back to the desktop. So yeah, I forgot. I wanted to show this, and this is a keyboard tray and from Advanced Sim Racing. And what makes this one unique, unlike the one that RigMetal says, the one that RigMetal sells, it just angles out to the side. It doesn't come in angle in front of you like you're sitting at a desk. It just kind of hangs off to the side here. You can show theirs. So this is what most of them do. That's as big as I can make it. Most of them are just a tack on so that you can have it off to the side and you can use one hand to manipulate the keys. But Track Racer makes one also that does this, okay? And I'm going to get this when it's back in stock. But this brings me to my point of next level racing's angled mount, wheel deck upright angled pieces of extrusion. You can't add this to that, because if you stick this on there, if you stick that on there, you know, you're gonna be mounting it to the front here, and it's going to go straight down instead of coming out nicely, level. So that's what I was getting at earlier about why I feel that's a negative. All right, I think that's enough. That's enough, right? This is going to be way too long. If I ever even like edit it and put it together, I might just never look at any of this footage ever again. I have a career. I really, really love gaming, and I really love sim racing now. I like VR. I own the Discord channel for Cat VR. I started it when they kickstarted their first VR treadmill, and it grew to over 4,000 members. And somewhere in the beginning there, they got on the Discord and they say, "Hey, this is really cool. You got a lot of people here. We're just gonna make camp here and use this as the official server." So I have a small relationship with them, but mostly just do it for fun. So I definitely don't have any aspirations of quitting my job and being a YouTuber. But I felt like when I was looking at all this stuff, there wasn't enough information specifically about the RigMetal, and I wanted to know more, and I just took a shot and bought it. So I hope this helped. And if I missed anything, or if there's anything that anybody wants to see, let me know in the comments, and I can do follow-up video, short video or whatever to fill in the gaps. But definitely for the money, you're getting everything that you paid for and more. I have tons of extra hardware in that box that I can still use. I have tons of T-nuts left. I have tons of bolts left. So I'm probably not ever gonna have to buy any of that stuff again. If I do change chairs to something else, I will have to buy a couple pieces of extrusion, but that's not a big deal, and that's understandable. In most cases, you're going to have to do that if you want to get creative with some different options that are out there. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Keep on racing.